So there are two kidneys in our body, the right and left kidneys, and each kidney usually weighs about 150 grams. And usually, kidney is one of the vital organs in our body because it has significant function, and one of this is to convert about 1,700 liters of blood per day into about 1 liter of a highly specialized concentrated fluid called urine. It also functions in the excretion of waste products of metabolism. It precisely regulates the body's concentration of water and salt and maintains the appropriate acid balance of plasma, and serves as an endocrine organ secreting such as hormones like erythropoietin, renin, and prostaglandin. So there are different renal diseases, and each renal disease manifests different clinical signs and symptoms. So in particular, specific about renal failure, we have acute renal failure and chronic renal failure. So when we say acute renal failure, it implies a rapid and frequently reversible deterioration of renal function. So usually, a patient with renal failure is classified as to the type of abnormalities within the main part of the kidney, which is the glomerulus. So when we say diminished renal reserve, it is the stage of a chronic failure wherein the glomerular filtration rate is about 50% of the normal. And usually we expect that serum, blood urea, nitrogen, and creatinine values are normal at this time, and patients are usually asymptomatic. However, they are more susceptible to developing azotemia with an additional renal insult. So when we say azotemia, this is usually a manifestation in chronic failure, in renal failure, wherein there is the increase of the BUN and creatinine. The second stage is known as the renal insufficiency, and this is the stage wherein the GFR, or the glomerular filtration rate, is 20 to 50% of the normal. And usually azotemia appears and is associated with anemia and hypertension. So at this time, polyuria and nocturia can occur as a result of decreased concentrating ability, and sudden stress like nephrotoxins may precipitate uremia. The third stage is the renal failure. So the GFR is about less than 20 to 25% of the normal. The kidneys cannot regulate the volume and solute composition, and the patients usually developed edema, metabolic acidosis, and hypocalcemia. Overt uremia may also be experienced with neurologic, gastrointestinal, and cardiovascular complications. So the end stage of a failure or kidney failure is known as the end-stage renal disease. And at this time, the GFR is known to be about 5% of the normal. So this is already the terminal stage of renal failure. Generally, to maintain a healthy kidney, first we have to have a healthy lifestyle so as not to develop conditions like hypertension and diabetes mellitus, which are the most common cause of kidney failure. How do we do this? By having first proper diet. So we have to prevent high salt, high fat diet, and of course we have to eat fruits and vegetables, and cut off of any non-nutritious food. Secondly, we should have regular exercise, and by the WHO, we are being advised to have at least 30 minutes of exercise, like brisk walking 3 times a week. Secondly, we have also to prevent infections and other development of like stones within the kidney. So in order to prevent this conditions, we must have good hydration, and ideally we should have around 8 to 10 glasses of water intake every day. Thirdly, since most of the medicines that we take usually are excreted in our kidney. So we have to prevent any type of infections or conditions that entail us to take several medicines.
Did you know that one Filipino develops chronic renal failure every hour?
Or about 120 Filipinos per million people per year.
Kidney failure is fatal. Always take care of your kidneys.